Morning, Phil from MOTO-MATE. Here we've got Paul's BMW R 1200 RS, and today we're going to be fitting a globally Rec 6 camera. Let's pull it apart and see what we find. Well, often on the RS I'll come off this bolt here using the mounting bracket, so that then just sits there and it still gives a clear view, but obviously we can come off under the rack as well.
I would say that because I don't think there's any bolt that comes through the rack. So
no, we'd have to drill it, and we also have to drill it down here to bring the wire through as well.
So in that case, I'd stick because.
And then the wire just tucks up through there.
Yeah. Because I thought that would be a good place, but that's actually sort of recessed in.
Yeah. So. The default wiring loom, obviously, globally will need to provide enough wire, whether it's a gold wing or if it's a sports bike, or to cover all opportunities. So there's quite a lot here. Going to mount the DC converter just under the pillion seat here. Battery's just down here in the middle of the bike, so we don't need all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten it down so we haven't got to try and hide so much wire, and then just pick up the ignition trigger, which is the yellow wire back here, probably from the DIN connector. The DIN socket is purely a 12-volt signal, so it doesn't draw, it doesn't power the camera through it, so you've got no issues with any load that you might put on there normally. Okay, just a quick overview of the lens mount. So that is the camera lens. Both front and rear lenses are the same, 1080p full HD. We've got a little snap ring which goes over and sits in that groove, and the body will then snap in one way or the other. There you go. Clamping screw on there. So for the front lens, this is the configuration I'm going to use. So we can adjust the lens that way, and that way. So therefore we'll easily find a way to get it aligned. Also in the pack is an L bracket. And we're going to use one of these on the rear lens. So it will come pick up off, say, mounting point here. So no drilling of the bike. So I'll just bolt in on there, and then the lens bolts up on the back. So again, gives you total orientation. Right, so Paul's going to uses his bike for training as a ROSPA observer. I don't think we're allowed to say the word instructor, are we? Tutor. Yep, so he has fabricated this little lens mounting bracket up off the side of the nav mount. So we're going to utilise that. If I can get my fingers in there to turn the bolt. The idea being that with the lens higher up, we have a clearer field of view. I'm just going to pinch these up loosely now so we can make some adjustments when we've got it all powered. We can see the LED indicator on the top of the lens is the vertical position, so that's a nice visual aid. Right, so it's going to sit something like that. You could have put a couple of holes in here for cable ties. And what I'll do is when we've got the connections all up to the DVR under the back, I'll bring the cabling forward and I'll hide the slack up here under the tank. And I'll leave the connectors where you can get to it should you ever want to change position.
That data anyway will go into the card, into the app.
And if the card gets full...
Oh, sorry, into the card.
Yeah, and if the card gets full, then it'll overwrite the alters first.
Got you. With globally, if I remember rightly, there isn't a sort of a cloud service or anything like that. It's all
just writes to the memory card.
Because I think that was one of the things that really attracted me to this. I didn't want to have to start taking out flipping subscriptions for cloud storage and all the rest of it.
There's enough of the stuff going on already.
Yeah. If there is firmware update, do you just need to drop that off the bike and plug it to your computer, or?
It depends. If it's a GPS firmware, then you need to plug the GPS into your computer. If it's a DVR firmware, you can just copy the files to the memory card, put it in, start it up, and it will write automatically.
Gotcha.
But like any recording system, recommend sort of format the card once a month.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise you'll get minuscule fractions of a second gaps between the files, And as it keeps overwriting, then those gaps will appear in different places, and then it can lead to corrupt recordings.
So that's sort of once a month. You just hold the
button for 10 seconds. So just to make sure everything's up and running, we're just connecting everything up, power the system up, get it set up on the customer's phone, and then we'll tidy everything up. Because the rear lens and the GPS antenna are quite close to the DVR unit, I'm not using the extension cables, so that just means we've got less wiring to try and hide and make for a neater job. So ultimately that's going to sit down on there.
I'll rack my brains why I would have taken that off, because the fact that there's a little bit of waterproof grease under there means that I was in there for some reason or other.
Who knows? And pad on the bottom,
Yep.
you bond it to the bike, which then when you want to try and get the memory card out, it's stuck to the bike and it's never in a good position. So this is on a mounting plate. So literally it just slides off, and then you can bend it and get into the plate. Then it just goes back on. Right. Yeah, you have to be careful. Yeah, so you bring it right forward.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, and then that pushes back to
Yeah.
come off.
Yep, so literally just slides that way and lifts away.
Cool.
Okay, a couple and a bit hours later, we're all done and sorted and back together. So Paul's got the front lens mounted up on a bespoke bracket up here. There's plenty of cable there if we want to move it to a different location to do that. So that's got a nice clear forward view. Then we've mounted the multifunction switch down here just below the instruments. So you can pause recording should you want to, take still images, and also format the memory card. DVR is mounted under the seat. It's the beauty of an RS, there's lots of room for that. So that's in, it's also on its mounting plate, so you can just lift it off easily to get to the memory card should you want to, and just latch it back on. GPS antenna is there, and then the rear lens we've mounted under the rack. We were originally going to mount it off this point here, but we couldn't get a completely unobstructed view, so we just moved it up onto the rack, and that's a nice clear view now. And there you go, pop the seats back on and job done. Tick the box, subscribe, see you soon.
It's been a really enjoyable morning watching him work while he's fitted this, and I'm really looking forward to trying this in action out on the road. Thanks to MOTO-MATE.